Good morning, everybody. Tristan, how you doing?
Good. How you doing, Spencer?
I'm doing good. Doing good. This is episode 4, right?
Episode 4. Shaken, not stirred.
Cool, cool. Well, this is a week after we recorded the last one, correct? Or are we 2 weeks, but we're going to try and do it every
No,
week
we
now?
did 2 weeks because we were
We did
both
two
out of
weeks.
town last weekend. Yep.
Got
But
it.
we said going forward every Saturday now.
Yeah. So that's a new thing is we're going to do this every Saturday, 8 a.m. At least that's when we record it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I just think that it's probably a good idea to keep talking, keep pushing out some content, and give people a lot to listen to and a lot
For
of
sure.
choices. So, how's life?
Great. Just
Yeah,
same working, staying
yeah,
busy,
yeah.
keeping at it,
Good.
training like crazy.
Yep.
I know I texted you the other day. We're gonna end up doing the Ironman over by your place. So
Mm-hmm.
well,
Yeah.
it's gonna end up being a half. Unfortunately, I wanted to do a full, but maybe smart to start off with a half and then do a full in
Ease into it.
2025.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the full is a full marathon too, right?
Yeah. So a full Ironman is 2.5 mile swim,
Mm-hmm.
150 mile bike, and 26.2 mile run
Man, that's
in
a
that
lot.
order.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's I ran my first 10 miler not yesterday, Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
And since I'm doing hybrid athlete training right now,
Yep.
Big
Yep.
Bears, and then next year I'm going to go into more detailed swimming, biking, running. I'll obviously
Yeah.
still be weightlifting, but not as much as I am now.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, the hybrid athlete's been great for one. I know that we did that for how long did we train for Hawaii last year? Like 3 months?
Yeah, I think so. It was a
Yeah,
little
for
while.
I'm about a month and 1 week into it
Mm-hmm.
now, but I'm gonna do it probably till the end of the year. So I'll have a couple months under my belt and then
Yeah.
start doing the more detailed training.
And are your long runs on Saturdays?
Right now, it has me off Saturdays and Sundays.
Mm. Got it.
Yeah, so I don't know if he switched it up quite a bit, but
Yeah.
um, I did look at it, and eventually I'll be running on the weekends. But right
Mm-hmm.
now it's Saturday, Sundays off,
Yeah, cool.
rest
I
days.
remember the long runs were always on Saturdays,
Yeah,
and they definitely were long. I mean, they got up to doing like
we
I think the highest was 14
yeah we were
miles.
we were legitimately doing half marathons, warming up for
Yeah,
what you call it,
I
Hawaii.
know. Yeah,
How have you
well,
been?
that's a different. Good. I've been good. It's work's been super busy.
Yeah.
A lot of pressure right now, but I mean the pressure. I find it to be very helpful. Not
Hmm.
that I get complacent, but it gives you a little different. At least for me, it does. It gives you a little different. This is going to sound so cheesy, but like a sense of like purpose. Not. I don't mean it
Hmm.
that way, but it's more of a sense of urgency. It's like
Right.
a fresh wake up call. Like, oh no,
Yeah.
gotta
If you
push
didn't have
harder.
that pressure, you'd just be kind of, chilling,
Yeah, and it's
doing
yeah,
doing what you need to do, but maybe not as efficient or as much as you should be doing it. But having that
right.
pressure pushes you to do more, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So no, I've been good though. We're working on two deals right now. One of which will be like a full bank presentation, basically going into like the bank's credit team next week. So pretty excited about that.
Nice.
Um, and I feel very good about that one. So
Hmm.
it's a really good company that we're looking to buy in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Okay.
So great
Nice.
area and great management, and so I'm pretty excited about it. So yeah,
Now, how long has this deal specifically been in process?
um,
Like from initial meetings
yeah.
to now?
There's a lot of courtship
Hmm.
involved with So I mean, some deals aren't like that, but this
Yeah.
one is. This is a guy who was the head of tech for um, I won't say the company, but a big credit card company.
Okay.
I mean, one of the largest. Everybody would know the name, and he was the head of tech for them, like globally. So he was in
Oh
Asia,
wow.
Europe, and so he's a very sophisticated guy. And he basically retired after 20 years there, came back to Arizona with his wife, and they said, you know what, we'll do like a 3 to 5 year plan, and
Mm-hmm.
we'll open up a home care agency. But what they wanted to do was with a franchise, and so they opened that in 2019 or no 2020, and then January 1st of 2021 they had such a poor experience with it that they said, you know what, we want to break free, fully independent, and so they did, and January 1st of 2021 was the first day they were an independent, independent operator, basically their
Mm-hmm.
own company, new brand. And they were doing probably a little over $1 million in revenue on that date, and then they've just nearly quadrupled since then. So
Wow.
he's just done a wonderful job with the company, and it's you're basically you're kind of buying people's like baby. They always say, well, it's my baby. My
Right.
people matter to me, the clients matter to me. So
Mm-hmm.
it can be a long drawn out process, but at the end of the day you really want to find someone who's motivated to sell.
Yeah.
And for me, I don't know if we talked about this last time, but being young, I have found it can actually help, because when I sell the fact that we're doing it different, it makes a little more sense being a young person.
Right. Like you're coming in, you're an industry disruptor, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's but I mean he likes me a lot. I mean, the guy even brought up, he said to me the other day, last week, he's on vacation right now, and he I don't know how it came up, but he basically said, he goes, are you getting married? I mean, do I remember a conversation like that? And I was like, well, I said, I'd be a liar if I told you I wasn't really pushing for that and trying to get there. Just not quite there yet. I mean, not relationship wise, but more so financially.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, okay. And I was teasing him, and I said, believe it or not, you're gonna have a huge part of that, because I need to buy your company to get me a little closer. And he was laughing and laughing, and I was like, you know what, I said, you might even be there. He was like, well, I'd expect nothing less. So it's
Yeah.
very cool. That's what's a really cool part about this, is the relationships you build with these
Building the
people.
relationships for
Yeah,
sure.
it's very cool. So
Yeah.
no, he's a great guy, but I'm doing well. I'm also training really hard right now. I just started to
No,
do.
you're still doing Jocko's training or no? From the
Nope,
book?
I did. I
Okay.
did. I did almost 5 months of that.
Okay. And
Four or
how
five
was that?
months.
How was that?
It was
Explain.
good. It was good. It was a lot of body weight stuff.
Okay.
Um, my lower half feels strong, because there was a lot of weights there, but it was
Mhm.
really interesting. So like we were doing crazy amount of pull-ups, weighted pull-ups, push-ups, weighted dips, stuff like that for like 4 or 5
Okay.
months.
Yeah.
And then I got on the bench for the first time last week, and I felt very weak, like pushing
Mm.
weight, not my body weight. It was
Yeah.
super interesting. I was like, oh my gosh, what is this? So just trying to get that back. But I built this program basically on my own. So like 3 days a week, I'm not in the gym. I'm one day is like a ruck. So like I
Hmm.
live kind of by the desert in the mountains. So like I'll go do a long ruck out there. One day is a like 2 mile run, but then there's also a different set of like 10 pretty long hill sprints.
Hmm.
So trying to incorporate more running back into this, and then one day is spent in the pool. So it's long form swimming. It's a couple different things in the pool, which I just love. It's less impact on the body and joints and everything. So just mixing it up. But yeah, I mean, I'm feeling good. So
Nice.
everything, yeah, everything is going well.
That's good.
Yeah, everything's going well. So one thing that I did a little research on my own, um, and I think we talked about this on the last call, the Kylian Mbappe, the soccer
Mm-hmm.
deal. I don't know if we
I don't know if we
talked about.
talked about it on the last one.
Okay,
Maybe we might have mentioned it briefly, but I know I
okay,
think you and I had talked about
yeah,
it
offline.
offline.
So basically, is that the biggest deal? Like the biggest
That's got to
individual?
be the biggest sports deal in history,
Yeah,
right?
it has to be. Yeah, at least proposal.
Yeah. So from what I read, it was like 330 million signing bonus, and then a 1 year salary of 700 million. So effectively 1.1 billion, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I heard he denied it.
So he would, okay, so I found this. If he stays with PSG, he gets a bonus of $66 million. And then here is the offer that Al Hilal offered him, which was, so it says his offer to Kylian Mbappe, alongside a $300 million fee for whatever that is. Al Hilal are pragmatic over Mbappe's drive to Real Madrid. The 12-month contract is rumored to include a basic salary, so just basic salary, nothing else, of $200 million a year, with the potential for up to 700
Okay.
in image and commercial rights. And they're also willing to allow him to obtain, or retain, I should say, the bulk of his off-field offerings.
That's insane.
And what I saw was he has absolutely zero intention of taking that offer. None.
Yeah. Did they say why?
Crazy. I think he completely has his eyes set on Real Madrid. I don't know why. I didn't see anything for an offer, but
Yeah.
I mean, that is absurd. That's crazy.
The second I saw that, because I use X, right?
Yeah.
Formerly known as Twitter. It's now
Yeah.
X, but I get updates on some stuff. It's kind of my news feed in a way. I still read like Wall Street Journal and some things like that, but
Sure.
that's more if I'm looking up construction and development stuff. But on X, I got an alert saying Mbappe passed up a 1 point, or no, this was before he passed it up, but Mbappe was just offered $1.1 billion by Al Hilal, and I was instantly jaw dropped.
Yeah. I mean, it's
That's
just
insane.
crazy. Yeah, no, it's
You're
super
talking-
crazy.
That's money that sets families up for generations.
Yeah, and I always like to use things like this because it really puts things into perspective. Like everybody, like when you're in high school and college and everything, like everybody has their eyes set on a $100,000 salary. Like
Yeah.
that's like the common thing.
I can make that. I can buy a house, and I can
Yeah.
buy my nice Mercedes.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, when you get there, and frankly, I'm not there salary wise like right now, but like I know conceptually, like that's not the end of the world.
Right.
Like $100,000 salary. Well, then you see guys who are making $1 million salary, $2 million. Wealth manager guy I know, he makes probably $1 to $3 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of money. But then someone basically was just offered to make $200 million
Right.
a year.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, he's a professional athlete and everything, but still, it's just like, it puts things into perspective. I mean,
It's so crazy.
if you shoot for the moon and miss, you might still get 80% of the way.
Mhm.
And 80% of the way to the moon is freaking crazy.
Yeah.
So it's cool though. I mean, it must be nice to be a professional athlete.
Yeah.
So
I think it's awesome.
yeah,
It's crazy. It's definitely crazy, and people are gonna be like, "How can you spend? How do you have that kind of money to spend on an athlete?" But I don't know. A lot of those guys come from nothing, right?
yeah,
And so
Yeah.
it's really cool for them to be able to have that kind of opportunity presented to them.
I mean, a lot of people have a problem with that. I don't really have a problem with it because soccer is like the biggest international sport, and
Right.
it's like
How many millions of people watch soccer every day, right?
yeah, and not to go down like this rabbit hole, but there was I think it was one of these former professional athletes was having the argument with someone about the pay between men's and women's sports. Like if you look at women's basketball and men's basketball, and he was like, what do people watch more?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's men's it just draws more attention, and it's just
Yeah.
like views on YouTube or whatever.
Mhm.
Whatever draws most attention is going to make the most you know, the
Have
most
you
monies. So
you watch stand-up comedy a little bit, right?
I can't say that I watch it, but
I'm
I
sure you
watch like
watch highlights and stuff
little
online,
yeah,
but
yep,
you know who Bill Burr is, obviously.
yep.
He did a Red Rock skit that's on Netflix,
Hmm.
and in part of it, he's talking about like the gap between men's and women's sports. But he says like for feminists out there, he's like, guys, not guys, but you get what I'm saying.
Yep.
He's like, if you want the women to make more money, you should go to their games.
Yeah.
Go watch the games. Be in the crowd, cheering, yelling, having a great
So
time.
true.
And it's true because if there's no views, they're not going to get paid more. It's the same as
Yeah.
television or anything else, right?
Hmm.
But dude, I went and saw Dave Chappelle on Wednesday.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Was it funny?
Oh my gosh.
Really?
For one, he said some stuff that was jaw dropping. I'm like,
That's what my dad said.
yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a Netflix special. So when we got in there, when you're outside going through security, they make you put your phone in like a locked bag,
Yeah, I heard.
and it muffles sound, can't record, can't call, nothing, right?
Wow.
Yeah. They made me take my Apple Watch off and put it in the bag with it.
Oh my
And then they
gosh.
lock it. I mean, you cannot get this thing open. I don't know exactly how the lock works, but um, yeah, we went and it was so much fun. But oh my gosh, hilarious, cool experience because we were 2 rows back from the stage, and
Oh,
so yeah, I wish I could have got pictures, but we couldn't have our phones.
did you go with your family or
So my
or
mom and
friends?
her boyfriend,
Hmm.
Phil,
Hmm.
they were supposed to go, but they couldn't make it. So
Okay.
they just gave the tickets to Phil's son and me,
Hmm.
and then he brought 2 of his friends. So the 4 of us just went and
Nice.
dude, it
And
was a blast.
it was just hilarious.
Oh my gosh, we were laughing the whole time.
Really?
It wasn't. I forgot. Oh, I was talking to my buddy yesterday about it, but there was never a point where I was like hysterically dying laughing, but it was consistently funny. I
Hmm.
was I was constantly laughing, but you know, not laughing when we get stuck in our
Yeah.
phase where we're
Yeah.
just giggling
Yeah.
for like an hour. But oh my gosh, it was great.
That's awesome. Yeah, my dad went to that. They had it at Acrisure Arena, the new big arena here,
Okay, yeah,
and they
yeah.
had him and I believe Chris Rock, and he went and
Nice.
saw it, and he said it was funny, but he said the same thing. He was like, "Guys got balls."
Oh yeah, dude. Like you said, you'll be able to watch the skit when it's on Netflix. I'll send it
Uh,
to you when it goes up. But oh my, the guy was just like chain smoking a pack of American spirits on stage in an arena, just did not care, and just
so
saying all this
funny.
stuff. I'm like, this is great.
It's
Um,
awesome.
okay, back to Mbappe deal, sports
Yeah.
side.
Yep.
Um, I I think it's hard, and I think so. Messi also had a big deal. I don't know if it was from Al Hilal, but I know it's from a Saudi. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. It was. I don't know who. Um,
but he
I'll look
passed
it
it
up.
up too. Now Messi's case. Did you see why? Did you see what Messi accepted with going to Miami?
I know that there was Apple stock involved.
Apple stock and revenue share through Apple TV views. So any from here on out, when he's playing in
Yeah.
Miami, any I guess let's just say per view, he gets paid a certain amount. So like when Michael Jordan got the deal with Nike that said, okay, we'll pay you, you know, 5% of
Yeah.
the profit of each shoe, right?
Hmm.
Messi's now going to get paid off each view that Apple has from him playing. And I believe he also, after retiring, he'll have ownership of the Miami team itself.
Yeah. Amazing. They've got some big names behind Miami. David Beckham's one of them.
He's still
Um,
playing?
No, I'm saying big
Oh,
names
oh, oh,
like
oh, oh, yeah, yeah.
the backers, the
Hmm.
promoters of the
That
team. So
team. Yeah,
this is even crazier. Al Hilal made one last offensive offer for Messi at the last minute.
yeah.
From Saudi Arabia, they would have offered him 1.5 billion for 3 years, $500 million a season. That's more than double
That's
what.
insane.
Yeah, I mean, it's outrageous, but it's crazy. But when you
Well,
have money that you can print,
right.
why not?
Yeah.
Why
I mean,
not?
the Saudis push money out here and invest in startups all the time, so
Yeah,
it's not rare to see this stuff happening
and they're super smart. They're
for
very
sure.
sophisticated.
Yeah, they're
I
very
respect
smart
it.
for money.
Very sophisticated. So,
Yeah.
um, anyways, yeah. But I mean, it's interesting because you think of the concept of being offered such a large sum of money and
Hmm.
being one of the biggest stars like on the planet today, like
Yeah.
with Ronaldo, Messi, Kylian Mbappe. Obviously, the more well-known ones, like universally, are Ronaldo and Messi.
Hmm.
Um, but Mbappe is also super young. But I mean, when both of those guys turn down offers like that, that there's like a different. It's not just the money, because if
Yeah.
it was, nobody's going to match that, and they would
Right.
have taken it.
For sure.
And but what a confidence booster to
I
know
know.
that. I mean, they don't even need it because they're literally walking legends of a
Yeah.
sport. But it's also being able to manage that. Like a guy like Mbappe, I find it even more impressive that he did not take that because he's so young
Hmm.
compared to
He's only
Messi.
what, 23 or 24
No,
or
he's
something?
literally so young.
Yeah.
I don't know his exact
I know.
age,
It's
but
got to be young 20s
he's
for sure.
24. He's 24 years
Yeah.
old.
He's our
And
age.
yeah, he's 24 years old, and he basically would have been a billionaire. And to turn that down, I think you got to have a strong head on your shoulders.
Hmm.
Um,
Absolutely. Well, a lot. My mom's boyfriend said once, "There's nothing better than a man with options,"
yeah,
and
yep,
it's 100% true.
yeah,
And I'm
and he,
assuming, obviously, he probably had multiple options on the table. And although this one was, definitely it's got to be the largest. But like you're saying, to have a good head on your shoulders and make a decision not based on the money, but based on what you want and what you're comfortable with, then I mean, you're
yeah,
you're gonna live a fulfilled life.
yeah, most definitely. And no matter what they turn down, they're going to make a ton of money, and they already have a ton of money.
Hmm.
So, but that's a very powerful place to be. It's like having options is equivalent to saying that you can't be bought,
Right.
right?
Hmm.
And I think like I mean you can make a direct tie to like the political environment in the U.S. right now. Like you have two guys running right now.
Hmm.
One of which I don't know if you guys have heard of him, Donald J. Trump, and Vivek Ramaswamy. Both are. I know Vivek is Trump still like a billionaire? Because I know for like a
Yeah, I
period of
think he
time he
is.
like dipped down. I just don't know if he's still a billionaire.
I'm I'm sure he is. Yeah.
But they're both billionaires,
Yeah.
and it's like you can't buy somebody like that. And you always
Mhm.
hear the word like the establishment, right?
Right.
I'm a big believer in that. Like I think that's a major, probably the single biggest driving force in the
For
U.S.
sure.
right now is like the quote establishment.
Hmm.
And when you have two guys like that, especially like Vivek, he's 38 years old,
Yeah.
39 years old. He built a $9 billion company.
Hmm. It was like a
This
bioscience, right?
It was. It
Biosciences.
was. It
Yeah.
was bioscience. So he's in the big, the pharma world.
Hmm.
But what's really interesting is he had a town hall last night with Patrick Bet David.
Okay, so I
You
listened
should.
to him. Elon hosted a X Spaces like a week
Yeah,
ago, and then do you listen to All In podcast or no?
I do not.
I'll send it to you. It's really good. You know who Chamath is, right?
Yep.
Polyhoptia. It's him, David Friedberg, Jason Calacantis, and David Sachs.
Hmm.
All VC guys, but they talk about all different types of stuff. they had Vivek on too, but go ahead. You listened to a town hall on
Yeah, so
TV?
he held a town hall for Vivek, and he basically announced that I think he just won a lawsuit against the World Economic Forum, which is
Wow.
obviously led by that guy
Schwab.
Klaus, yeah, Klaus Schwab,
Yeah.
and and you get into the whole ESG, which I'm not qualified enough to like talk about. I couldn't even
Hmm.
really explain it other than it's sort of a bogus score system,
Right.
that they're using for companies, and they're pushing really hard,
Hmm.
which Tesla like had a very low, which doesn't even make sense. So it's like it's literally kind of bogus. But basically, the
Right.
World Economic Forum said, Vivek, you are going to be, on our list of young global leaders. He's a billionaire. It's a bunch of tech billionaires, and he was like, no, I disagree with literally everything you guys stand for. So no, they put him on the list anyways. He goes back, fights them, battles him, take me off. They took him off. He shows up again. He's been on there for like 3 consecutive years, and he's like, fine, you know what? I'll sue you. So he sued him. Um, he also just sued the DOJ like
Nice.
last week or something, and he's a hellraiser.
Yeah.
And but that's a guy who can't be bought, and I
Hmm.
think it's an incredibly powerful place to be in, especially when you're in desperate times.
Right.
Um, money does money's very powerful, and power is powerful,
And people
right?
with money know that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and when you're dealing with somebody smart, they know how to use that.
Hmm.
But I mean, that's a perfect correlation between like athletics, like the
Right.
examples that we're talking about, and these guys in the political environment. And I think
Yeah.
that's what, in terms of politics, I think that's what people really like, because it's so like mainstream, the traditional political thing. Like you're basically a puppet. Like I think most people know that the president doesn't sit there and just make decisions.
Right.
Like you're
Yeah.
basically a puppet of a
Yeah.
much bigger force.
Yeah. You're just a voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're
So
you're you're a face to the madness.
yeah, and when you don't need that force, that position or whatever, it's a pretty powerful place, but you're going to raise hell, and
Hmm.
frankly, it's pretty dangerous. So,
Yeah.
um, anyways, it's interesting. What do you think? To stay on this political topic, what is your prediction for the election?
I really don't know, honestly.
Yeah.
It's so up in the air right now. For one, we don't know who the hell's going to get the nomination.
Yep.
Trump's killing everyone in the polls, but also like I think if I'm being 100% honest, I don't think DeSantis has a shot.
I
Um,
do not either.
I really thought he was going to be the one. Like, oh, finally someone a little bit more in between that can maybe bring people from the middle over, but he hasn't been that. He's just getting
Yeah.
ravaged by all the other guys. But I listening to Vivek, he's got a very very strong um, campaign going.
Yeah, he
So
does
I
for
think
sure.
it's a possibility. But that being said, Trump is going to be hard to beat. And I was
Yep.
talking to my roommate about this. It's, I think, due to the fact that um, the Trump name has become a brand in the world that speaks out against, the whole drain the swamp situation. Everyone
Yeah.
knows that, like you're saying, people can be bought, and people have been bought, and those people are still in office.
Right.
I'm not going to say they never cared about the people, but they probably went into office thinking I'm going to make a difference, but they're only getting paid 150K a year,
Hmm.
and they've got law school to pay off, student loans, and then a big company comes and offers them $1 million for lobbying, whatever. You know how it
Yeah.
works, but
Yep.
the fact that the system definitely has that, and that definitely needs to go away. I think Trump has the strongest name, the strongest brand of like if you think drain the swamp, or if you think get rid of these people, you instantly hear Trump's voice in your head,
Yeah.
right? it's going to be hard to steal that thunder from him. And so I'm not 100% convinced that someone else is going to be up there going toe to toe with whoever the Democratic nominee is. But
Yeah.
if it is going to be someone, my guess is going to be Vivek. And then I think it'd be cool to see Robert Kennedy up there on the Democratic side. But
Wait, Vivek on what? What do you mean?
nomination, like the
For the
Republican
Republican
nominee.
Party?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. I mean,
Wow.
I just want someone different in office.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm
That's all right.
I'm 100% okay with Trump winning, but
That was funny.
Vivek, um, I don't know. I think it'd be cool to have someone young, someone that's a disruptor, someone like you're saying, toe to toe with the WEF.
Yep.
Someone, and
Yep.
not that Trump hasn't or wouldn't do that, but I don't know. I think more people could get behind Vivek, and he's gonna probably be just as strong as Trump would.
Yeah. No, I do too. I think what Trump has going for him is his cult following. Like,
Mhm.
I don't mean it like in a bad way. You know what I mean? But I mean
Yeah,
just a freaking force
yeah.
of people that like are diehard Trump fans.
Hmm.
I would say I'm a diehard fan, but am I a fan? Absolutely.
Yeah,
I am. Um, yeah. So right now, like Vivek is tied with DeSantis,
yeah.
which
Which, like
for
a month
DeSantis, I
ago,
think that's embarrassing.
for sure. Because Vivek came out of nowhere. I didn't know who he was until about a week ago.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's I just think that's embarrassing. I think they have done the DeSantis camp. I think they've done a very poor job
Yeah,
at. I mean, the guy's turning down like so many interview opportunities,
for
podcast
sure.
opportunities. Like, what in the hell are you doing?
Yeah,
Vivek, on the other hand, is literally doing every single possibly thing that can like fit in his schedule.
hmm,
What I think will be extremely interesting is on a debate stage.
yeah,
Anybody versus Vivek.
yeah,
Anyone.
hmm,
I think that is going to be. I think it could be pretty brutal.
yeah, for sure.
Like he's super sharp, and obviously Trump and DeSantis are both sharp guys, but it's like a different kind of sharp.
Yeah,
Like if you're gonna get down to like facts and things like that,
and
and
one
not
thing
so
I have
much.
heard
Yeah,
too is Trump backing Vivek. He's talked about
yeah,
him like a lot. He's gone after DeSantis a lot because he
yeah.
thought that was his biggest threat. But even with Vivek coming up, he hasn't said anything bad about him. He's been
No, he hasn't
very
said it. I do
almost
not.
supportive of him.
Yeah, yeah. I do not see. However, I do not see Vivek being a VP.
No, and that's what I
Like I
was
can't visually. I can't see that.
right, and that's what I was thinking in my head. Okay, if Trump's gonna win and Vivek pulls out, maybe Trump, they'll
Yeah,
talk it out and he'll say, "Yeah, be my VP." But yeah, I don't know if he'd settle for that, right? It's
yeah,
almost what's the rule? Come home with your shield or die on it.
yeah,
Spartan rule.
yeah.
Become the president or don't
Do
do
you
it at all.
think that Biden will finish his term?
Yeah, he'll make it to 24, but um, he announced that he's going to campaign. There's no shot that guy's going to win. The Democratic Party is going to throw up someone like who's the idiot in California?
Yeah, Newsom.
Newsom. Yeah, there you go.
I think that's going to be their guy.
Yeah, I think he's their strongest bet. I don't think who's the other one? Uh, his name's like right on the top of my tongue.
I don't know. Where's he from?
I don't even remember.
Oh. Um,
Uh, Buttigieg, is that his last
oh,
name?
Pete Buttigieg.
Yeah, that
You know?
he's not strong
Yeah.
enough to run for the
No,
party.
I don't even know what he looks like.
Exactly. I don't think they would put him up there. I mean, he's a big name for them, and a lot of Democrats support him, but
Yeah.
I don't think he would have the backing that Newsom would have.
Yeah. And, well, yeah, you know who is convinced that Biden will not finish his term is Rogan.
Really?
Convinced. Absolutely convinced. Which, when in 2024 does his term end? Like when, like what month? Do
So
you
I
know?
think I think they finish the 2024 year because the election will happen at the end of 2024, and then the new president will take office in 25, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's a long time.
Yeah.
That's, we're just starting the eighth month of 23. That's a long time. But anyways, yeah, he was like, he's convinced.
Yeah.
And then guess who becomes president? What's her face? The
Oh,
VP.
hmm.
I mean, I don't even know if anybody even
See, the
likes her.
only problem with that, who's the Speaker of the House right now?
Don't know.
Yeah. I think they'd be because the Speaker of the House becomes the VP if the VP becomes president.
Hmm.
And I don't know who that is. I'd have to look it up, but that could put them in a potentially bad situation.
Yeah. I
I
don't
think
know.
if they were going to go through with that, they would have done it a year ago. I don't
Yeah.
think they're going to do it within the last year and a half, because then it's literally just going to. I think it'll just push all the narratives that conservative GOP party people and stuff have said for so long that he's
Yeah.
incompetent, can't handle.
Yeah.
He's not fit to be president. So if they go and pull him, they're going to be screwing themselves.
I just don't see how he will survive on a debate stage.
Yeah, I 100% agree. He barely made it through in whenever it
He
was.
said he cured cancer. Did you see that?
What?
He recently, yeah, he said we cured cancer. Like it's, I mean, I just don't know. Like a guy going against a guy like, frankly, all three of the top Republican guys like DeSantis, Vivek,
Yeah,
Trump. How do you? I mean, I don't even know how that's possible.
yeah. No, like
It's
those guys
it's
are
very
so
sad,
all
frankly.
so
Like,
sharp, and
yeah,
he
like
is
shame on
lost.
his freaking wife for
Yeah,
feeling comfortable with your husband being in front of the entire world,
for sure.
literally making
Making
a
a fool of himself.
fool
Yeah,
of himself
not
and the
just of
country.
himself, but of the entire country.
In the country.
Yeah,
I don't know. Anyways,
crazy.
yeah, it'll be interesting. I always say this though. I'm not super doom and gloom,
Hmm.
although I think you got to be paranoid. Like
Yeah,
that's kind of a driver of success, especially in business. Would I much prefer somebody on the Republican, like the top three Republican candidates get in as president? Totally, obviously. Um, like I think the left is just totally sideways, backwards, upside down. I think
hmm.
that's ridiculous. But you know what? I think you and I both know, no matter who is in office,
I'm
we're
still gonna
gonna.
work my butt off.
It's
I'm
not
gonna
gonna,
get where
dude.
I'm
It's
headed. You know.
I'm not the I'm just not really a believer that the country is doomed. Like doomed. I mean,
Right.
bad. Like
Yeah. I mean,
you're not
people freak
gonna.
out and they're like, "It's game over. We're gonna, we're all screwed. America's screwed." It's like, no, we're Americans. We're gonna figure it out.
Yeah. So
We've
that's. I mean,
done
that's the. Yeah.
for 250 years.
I know that's the positive side about it. Like I just think that people, if you sit there and watch Fox News all day,
I don't.
or
I
CNN,
seriously,
you're gonna think that.
like I said earlier, I use X
That's what I use.
for my news. I don't. I stopped watching Fox News in 2020.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
could not stand watching legacy media anymore.
It's ridiculous.
And it's
I use X
yeah,
and I watch PVD's podcast.
DVD. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
that's my resource.
all these people with podcasts and stuff are completely changing the game.
Oh
For
yeah,
one, obviously X is changing it on a higher level, higher perspective, but um, legacy media is going out the door. Tucker
yep,
Carlson gets 10 times more views on X than he got on Fox News.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I know. Um,
And I'm
Make
just
a
tired of
little,
people being divided because of
yeah.
legacy media. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people, if you actually sit down and have a conversation with someone, 90% of our um, ideology would probably align, and then we'd have 10% difference.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Obviously, there's extremes, but the legacy media just makes it look like the entire country is one way and the other half of the country is another way, and that's just not true. It's not how it is. But
Yeah.
that's how they drive. What's it? I forgot who coined this term hundreds of years ago, but it might be a Sun Tzu
Mm.
quote. But essentially, what the quote says is it's easier to conquer a divided country or
Oh yeah.
divided people.
Yep.
If people are stead and strong together, you're not you're not taking that over, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
if you can divide them, divide and conquer, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Um, a slight pivot. X.
Mm-hmm.
Where did that come from? What do you think? X, from Twitter to X.
So well, you know his holding company for all the companies is called X Corp, right?
I did not.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm assuming that's where it came from. It would make sense.
Got it.
Yeah.
So is it no longer even called, like, do you not say Twitter? You say X?
Yeah. It's not called Twitter anymore.
Wow.
Technically,
Okay.
I know
I must not.
people are still going to call it Twitter, but it's literally X now.
Okay, so then I just need to update my app because it still says Twitter on mine.
Oh yeah, you need to update it.
Got it.
What?
Yeah. Interesting, though.
It is. Yeah. Let me see.
But you know what? I think I tend
Do you see it
to.
right here?
Okay, yeah. I still have just Twitter, but what was I going to say? I tend to, when he makes a move, I kind of just say, all right, you know what? I trust it.
Mm-hmm.
He's a powerhouse, so.
For sure. Stud.
Yeah. Yep. All right, man. Well, anything else?
One thing I was going to mention to you is you were talking about how you're not paranoid, but you keep yourself, on edge,
Yeah.
right? You kind of mentioned that a few minutes ago.
Yep.
Great book. It's called Only the Paranoid Survive by Andrew Grove.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew Grove, I believe, was one of the co-founders and at one point CEO of Intel,
Mm-hmm.
back in the late 90s, early 2000s when, chips and everything were massive. And not
Yeah.
that they are today, but when they first started coming out and
Right.
were huge for getting computers, financing, government stuff, all that. But great book. And it's all about how being semi paranoid and looking to the future to try to predict what you can
Mm-hmm.
and make changes based on that,
Mm-hmm.
or gear things around. Whether obviously in this case this was to grow Intel, preserve
Yeah.
Intel, and yeah, it's just a really good read. So if you ever want to check it out, I'll send it to
Yeah.
you.
You know, PBD talks about that book all the time.
Does he really?
Yeah, all
Okay.
the time. Like literally all the time.
Yeah.
And but it also reminds me of a phrase. I don't know if I said this on here, but you know Tillman Fertitta.
Mm-mm.
So Tillman Fertitta is the one who owns Mastro's. He's
Okay.
a multi-billionaire out of Texas, but he's big in restaurants, hospitality space.
Okay.
Actually, everybody should look up Tillman Fertitta. Unbelievable. Look him up on YouTube. He's done some incredible interviews. Just an amazing guy. Kind of under the radar. I don't know how, but he is. And he said something that I literally have never forgotten, which is when times are bad, people forget that times will be good again.
Mm-hmm.
And when times are good, they forget they'll be bad again.
Yeah.
And that's another way I think of saying, the paranoid survive. Like you're
sure.
constantly, for me, like yesterday, I had three really good things happen in the course of like 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And it was towards the end of my day. So I was like, awesome, I'm in a good mood. I'll go, I'll get up, I'll go do this, and I was sitting there, and I was like, nope, I've been here before. It's not the
Mm-hmm.
first good thing that's happened to me.
Yep.
And I got to sit down. I'm like, okay, how do I make it even better? Like what could go wrong here? Is this a good indication, or is it good, like in concrete, solid?
Yeah.
Not solid yet. How do we make it solid?
Yep.
And it's
Where
like
do I build
that's
that last
that.
foundation, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's like it's like in the gym when you're training,
Mm-hmm.
the big growth happens is when you're super like let's say like I don't know. Let's say you're doing simple lunges, right? You don't have any equipment. You're outside doing lunges, and
Mm-hmm.
you get that lactic acid buildup, and your legs just lock.
Yeah.
Like the real growth when you can get like 5 to 7 more lunges in,
Yeah. Out of that.
and that's where it is. And
Yeah.
it's I mean it's the same in school. Like
Mm-hmm.
your homework is never perfect. So try and get as close to you can. Like I'm just a huge believer in being a little extreme. Like
Yeah.
really pushing the
You
boundaries. So
had
that
my
was
letters, right?
yeah,
He wrote a book. Actually, I have it right there next to Great
yeah.
by Choice. The Power of One More.
Mm.
And I think it's similar to BPN, right?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't their motto "Go one more"?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yep.
also, not to bring up this stud, but Arnold
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger, he said when he used to do sit-ups, I think it was him that said it. They're like, when do you stop, or how many sit-ups will you do? And he said, I'll stop counting, or I'll start counting once my abs start to hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And so you think, people sit there and do 10 sit-ups and be like, oh yeah, I'm good, right? They didn't feel anything, you know?
Yeah.
But this guy was going, and you're talking probably one of the greatest bodybuilders of all
Yeah.
time. He would do his sit-ups, and once it started to hurt, he would start counting.
Mm-hmm.
So if you had to get 20 reps, he wouldn't count his 20 reps until maybe he was 50, 60 reps in.
Yeah.
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 Crazy.
No, I know it's no, they're all good points, but I think it's probably maybe that's a good place to end it. But I think that yeah, when times are good, people forget that they'll be bad again. When they're bad, when they're really really bad, they forget that they'll be good again.
Yeah.
And it's a really difficult place to be in your mind to try and force yourself to like accept that reality, because it's very like I went through a very very I don't want to say dark period would be dramatic, but like a
Mm-hmm.
really stressful, like completely consuming period, like building my business a
Okay.
couple of months ago. And don't need to get into details, but basically something totally went sideways. And managing that, it was like super hostile. It
Mm-hmm.
was extremely stressful. I've never been in that territory in my life. It was
Yeah.
completely unfamiliar territory. Even
Mm-hmm.
some of the people on my board and my team have not. They've dealt with bigger things, but they haven't dealt with something specifically like this.
Yeah.
And it was very consuming. But when times are bad, you have to like force your mind to say it's going to be good again.
Yeah.
So
For
we
sure.
just we got to get there faster.
Yep.
So I think that's
All
good.
right.
That's probably a good place to end it.
That's a great place to end.
All right. Well, to everybody out there, keep pushing, and we'll keep pushing content out as much as we can.
Yep. We'll see you
And,
next weekend.
Yeah. All right. See ya.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.